Okay, so you know what, let's jump straight into it because
Yeah.
I thought the same thing when I saw this first. Um, and so we're going to speak tonight a lot about strong young gunners, and we'll deviate and go everywhere probably. This one leaves a mark on people because I think the first thing they wonder is how do you get this balance between
Mhm.
challenging, good young players, and care. It doesn't seem like in the old days it was all about challenge. In the woke days, it's all about care. Like, how does it bleed and blend together?
Yeah, there's no, I like that you pick out this statement is our mission statement, and that is run by our environment, by all the departments, all the people that work for the academy. That is our statement. This is what we do for ourselves, and we define it ourselves in a way we want to approach our young people that come into our academy. And you rightly said, striking the balance between challenge and care. Therefore, we must know what does it actually mean, in terms of what is actually care. Does it mean is the money and the taxis that we provide, constantly all the time? Then are we then not in danger to not making them as independent as they need to be when they leave us? So is our mission state. How can we be possibly the best in those both areas to challenge them, maximum challenge on a daily basis, age appropriate, but
Mm.
also how can we strike the balance between, giving them the tools, the boots, the kit, the taxi provision that is exactly at the right amount, just to make sure we get that balance right. So this is something that we constantly review, adjust, look at when it comes down to player recruitment, what other academies give in order to get them to the training ground, how many taxi credits do we give. It's just an example here, just to let you know that we're constantly working on what is the right balance in our environment to be the best that we can be to get challenge and care right. Because too much care is sometimes dangerous, but also too much challenge. So it's always trying to strike the balance with all of our teams to make sure that age appropriate, we do the right things.
So I'm guessing care for one kid means something different than another. Like the one who pulls up in the 4x4 is different than the one who has to use your taxi or has to get a couple of buses across town and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, and obviously we're trying to treat everyone in the same way as best as possible. But then obviously you have circumstances where sometimes you need to maybe do a bit more, or I've got an exceptional talent that you treat in a different way. But does it help him, on the long run to just understand that you'll be tested one day, and then we can't be there and be the network and provide everything that we have, because at some stage these guys might, the majority will go on loan to a League One or League Two. Do they get any taxis? Zero. Do they get any provision in terms of the physio? So we understand we develop in an elite environment where the contribution from staff is massive, and it is almost like in a professional way towards Premier League championship provision. So we gotta be careful, not that we overdo things in order to just prepare them to fail, in a League One or Two dressing room, in a League One, Two National League training ground. That's why we are heavily built on standards and people focus. Probably we'll touch on that also, because at the end of the day, the ultimate test will be the person, and we just need to make sure that we strike the right balance.
But yeah, I remember a few years ago in Nottingham, we had a boy who he could play. Um, he didn't make it sort of all the way through the system, but he was always late. He was always, tired. He was always this, always that. Game day was fine. Sunday morning was fine, but even midweek and all that, and really the old school. This was when old school turned to new school, and old school said, "Oh, he's this, he's that." The new school was, well, let's ask some questions and find out. And he was one of those kids on the buses. He was, single parent, mum working, a couple of jobs, the kind of Raheem Sterling stuff that went around a couple of years ago. And as soon as you solve a problem, I think we solved it through some other local families that were traveling. He flourished.
Yeah.
And exactly what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah, you're right. In terms of the key thing also there is, the relationship. I think what COVID has shown us, the massive differences, where we saw in terms of, what kind of stuff do the people have at home? Do they live in a single room, or do they have a big garden? I think that was one of the examples that one of the positive things that COVID shows that it wasn't much was, everyone is different, everyone has different circumstances, but when we want to find out and want to build deep relationships to find more out and to be trusted, there are more we need to know on that personal relationship to get the best out of the people that we have.
When I don't know where